good morning, everybody. Welcome to another brand new live episode of Strong Style here on the Outlaw Nation channel. This is the show where we talk about the big news in professional wrestling every Saturday live at 12 p.m. PT or 9 a.m. PT, 12 p.m. 12 a.m. What the fuck? 12 p.m. ET, and I don't know what time it is on Central Time, but that's what the show is going on here. Three gentlemen bringing you some fun conversations about the world of professional wrestling, covering all the big stuff in all the federations for sure. We got a special guest today, but first, let's introduce ourselves. I'm the Outlaw John Rocha, writer, producer, and host here on the Outlaw Nation, specifically on Strong Style. My brother from Orlando there, Aaron Turner. How are you?
Good, man. Got up early, went to the park, the state park with my dog this morning, so got it out of the way. And yeah, man, excited to talk to our guest today. Was going back through some of his stuff, just amazing stuff. So a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And the man who brought us this guest, and much love to him, the third man. He's the third man here on Strong Style, the Darkadect himself, Chris Burns. How are you, Chris?
No, I'm feeling good, man. Excited to connect with Smack Talker Skywalker. I mean, Muscles Marinara, whatever you want to call him. No intro necessary, really. It's going to be a treat. It's going to be fun.
Hey.
Yeah,
and this
absolutely.
is the way to wear a 6 shirt, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Out of respect. That's right. Out of respect. Nice stuff. Yeah. For those of you who missed it a few days ago, we did a special live episode as a tribute to Scott Hall. We talked about his career, his achievements, his life, his effect on all three of us as wrestling fans, and also his effect on the business and his legacy that he's going to leave in the business. And we'll have a little bit more kind of update on Scott Hall and what happened there and his condition and people's reactions to the unfortunate passing and people's tributes to him, both in their ring attire and verbally and on their social media. So we might touch upon that a little bit later on in the show. But first, let's check in with each other. What a week of wrestling, ladies, Chris and Aaron, and ladies and gentlemen. This has been insane. There's so much happening now. It's starting to ramp up. So, on one side of things, films, television shows starting to ramp up. And then on this other side of things, certainly professional wrestling started to ramp up more and more. We're going to talk about Cody Rhodes coming to the WWE. We're going to talk about that Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker steel cage match for the Women's World title in AEW Dynamite. We got Brock Lesnar ripping off truck doors. We got Ronda Rousey going through tables. We got Alexa Bliss complaining that she's not a part of WrestleMania. So much is happening, gentlemen. I thought it was going to be a light week, but it turned out to be a pretty busy week by the end of the week. Aaron, what's your feelings overall about pro wrestling right now?
That's how it always goes, man. Like I'm building up the show on like Thursday and Friday. I'm like, well, this is pretty light. And then stuff happens and it's like, well, I guess I got more work to do. So yeah, man. I mean, the Alexa Bliss stuff is kind of interesting because she's not one to complain, right? Normally.
Not usually.
Yeah. So she put up a tweet that said something to the effect of, I guess I'll just hang out here or something like that. And, they brought her back for Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
And they didn't do anything else with her. I don't think we've seen vignettes of her in the doctor's office any longer.
Those were getting destroyed. That's why.
So I feel bad for her because, she did the thing last year at WrestleMania with The Fiend, which I was watching last night. It's just that went nowhere. It was deader than something, deader than The Undertaker. I don't know. But it was just awful. And then, they give her this character to run with it. It's awful and terrible.
Yeah.
And she just, I think out of the past 3 out of 4, she's not been an active wrestler at WrestleMania. She was doing the COVID Mania, but she didn't do the other ones. So it's like, that's tough, man. Like Bayley was out with an injury last year, I believe. No, she wasn't out with an injury. She was out with an injury this year, so she's missed the past 2 WrestleManias.
Yeah.
So that's tough, but that's a different scenario. With Alexa, it just feels like for once they just have nothing to do with her, and she's one of their most popular people. It's very odd.
Yeah, Chris, I mean, Roberto Arsenal does a great job bringing it. Bliss literally tweeted, "Trust the process," months ago, and now she's complaining that she's not a part of the WrestleMania plans. I mean, Aaron says, she's not one to complain. Well, because they've always kissed her ass and taken care of her and put her in prime position. So now finally you're getting a little bit of the Karen whining from Alexa a little bit on Twitter, and it might be part of a whole thing here, a whole storyline. But if it isn't, are you surprised that she's willing to risk the wrath of the WWE and Vince by being a little passive aggressive with her tweet?
No, I think that, it seems like sometimes it's the only way to get things done and one way to get attention. There's so many stop gaps between the superstars and Vince nowadays, it seems like. And one person's telling you one thing, another person's telling you another. Vince McMahon has a totally different direction or is completely unaware of you. So it's always like something going on. So, as much noise as you can make, because, I mean, the decisions that they make in WWE are so baffling at times that, I mean, sometimes you just got to inject a little bit of like, hey, what's going on? Asuka's hurt. Bayley's hurt. You really only have one big women's, well, I guess Becky and and Bianca as well. But those are the only two big WrestleMania women's matches happening. You know what I mean? You got 2 nights to fill.
Yeah.
You just brought her back from injury. No plans? Like nothing? At some point you got to speak up. So I'm all for it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it seems it's just a new color I've never seen on Alexa. And look, she's the one that takes herself out of situations. She went and got married. She wants to kind of relax from all the strain and the stress and the pressure. And she seems caught in between 2 places. Like it seems like if an acting situation came along, I feel like she'd jump from the WWE in a heartbeat if it opened the doors for her. I don't know if she's long for the WWE. So it just seems odd that she's, pushing this idea of not being a part of WrestleMania that's kind of hurting her. I mean, I get it. Natty certainly goes crazy when she's not a part of WrestleMania. So I get that there's a professional pride and ego and desire to be part of the biggest event every year of the company you work for. So I get it. But what's it going to lead to? And Chris, you bring up an excellent point. All these different people between you and Vince McMahon, that isn't the way it used to be. And maybe this is the way you rattle that cage. And some of them are reports already again this week about how WWE creative is a bit of a shambles. And nobody knows except for 1 or 2 people what they're doing with Cody Rhodes, and which we'll get into a little bit later. So I don't know. Doesn't bode well overall for the WWE. We'll see how they handle the Alexa Bliss, because even Rollins, out here begging for a match as well, which of course is a storyline, but still just interesting. Chris Kudris starting us off with super chats here saying, God bless the bad guy. To me, Hall and Nash were to the NWO what Tully and Arn were to the Horsemen. Flair and Hogan may have been the brand name on the car, but those 4 were the engine that made it run. Yeah, gentlemen, thoughts on that?
1,000%.
Big facts. Big facts.
1,000%.
Yeah. I mean, it's like it only works because it's those 2 guys. Like you couldn't there's no one else on the roster that you could have gotten to say, oh, we're starting this thing and that's outside the company. No. It had to be 2 brand new debuts, 2 brand new guys that were just seen on WWE television in high profile matches and angles and storylines. And it had to be, you had to have the talent to sell it. And those 2 guys were the guys. So they were definitely the glue that held it together. Hogan was an act that was losing steam by the second in WCW. And, I don't even know who you would call the 4th guy at NWO, I guess. What was it? Was it the Giant? Who was the 4th guy?
Over at WCW, I guess it would be.
Was it Ted DiBiase?
It was Ted. I think it was Ted.
Yeah, it was Ted DiBiase. But they were the glue for sure. Everybody wanted to see the outsiders, definitely. Even in the early days when they were super heels, when people would boo Hogan, they still cheered the outsiders. So absolutely, the glue.
Yeah. And I would argue that they might have been a little bit more to the NWO than Tully and Arn meant to the Horsemen. Not that Tully and Arn weren't, but remind me of a Tully promo. I mean, Nash and Hall both had fantastic promos. Arn could drop a promo like nobody's business for sure. And of course, Flair, one of the kings of promos. But certainly those 2 guys, I think that elevates them a little bit more. And I don't think you get the outpouring of love for Tully or even Arn that you would get that we got for Scott Hall. Whether Scott Hall had died at 80 or at 61, I think that the fan base would still be more in love with what Scott Hall did because of his ups and downs, the public nature of his journey a little bit more. So, but maybe that's a controversial take, but it's not that Tully and Arn weren't incredible Horsemen. They were. I just feel like, it's apples to oranges a little bit. I feel like it was a different formation, and those 2 guys were essential to the NWO. Hogan could have turned heel, but without those 2 as his young muscle, there's no effing way it would have worked overall, And Hogan almost didn't want to do it. You know, they were talking to Sting about it, from what I understand. So,
I can't let you besmirch the name of Tully Blanchard and just get away with it.
I'm not besmirching
Tully Blanchard. Many a great promo. Do I have one off the top of my head? Absolutely not. But Tully was a great talker. So all those guys could talk except for Ole. Like all those guys.
Ole, true.
All they could all talk into the building. So yeah, it's different. It's a different generation because Tully and Arn were workers, where Nash was not the best worker, but man, what a hell of a personality. Hall, great worker, great personality. It's just different. It's just a different set of skills. And they didn't need to, where I think the NWO needed that because Hulk Hogan had been booed with the red and yellow. Right, and there was Hall and Nash with a fresh injection. Yep. Ric Flair didn't need that. Ric Flair was already the man. He didn't need Tully and Arn, but it just kind of helped that they were there. It helped them.
I mean, it's two different situations. Yeah, I agree with you. It's two different situations. Orlando Orego saying, hello all, going to WrestleMania in 2 weeks. Congratulations, Orlando. First time going to Dallas, Texas. Be careful. Hoping for Cody Rhodes to return there. Also excited for Becky versus Bianca. Gentlemen, any WrestleMania tips for Orlando, who's going to his first WrestleMania? I've never been to a WrestleMania.
Pace yourself. Pace yourself. Pace yourself. If you're drinking, babysit it, sip it, just let it build. Because not only are you going to get unbelievably hammered because they're long shows, but also the pee breaks, bro. You don't want to be getting up all the time and making your way, and it gets sticky in there. So pace yourself.
I bet it does. Aaron, any tips?
Well, I know that it's at the Cowboy AT&T Stadium, right? So it's a dome. It's a dome, right? Yeah. It's got to close.
Well, it can be a dome. It's a retractable dome, but I'm sure
okay. Well, hopefully they'll close it at some point and got some AC in there. I can tell you that going to Tampa and Orlando for WrestleMania is hot as hell. Like Chris said, pace yourself on the beer. Make sure you eat something non-greasy, but also kind of greasy beforehand. Like get you a nice burger in there or something before you go and start drinking, so you can absorb that. Nice. I will recommend nachos over popcorn if you're doing that because it gets you less salty. And then, a lot of people want to stay for the entrances before they do anything. It's like, oh, the match has started or something like that. So go take your whiz or go take your, please don't crap in public like that. Go take a whiz while that's happening, while something big is going on. Cause they got TVs everywhere. You're not going to miss anything super tremendous. So just go when people aren't going, and hopefully it doesn't rain.
There you go. There you go. Start off the show with 2 super chats. Ladies and gentlemen, please don't forget to send in your super chats and your Streamlabs. Streamlabs address right above Aaron said. It's also pinned in the chat now, and it's in the description of this video. Send in some support for us. And yes, our guest today is the 2-time Cruiserweight champion. He is, I don't know, what can you say about this guy? He's one of the most unique American professional wrestlers in the history of wrestling. When he was part of the tag team with Big Kaz, they won the tag team of the year in 2015. As I said, he's a two-time Cruiserweight champion. And now the man has got a rap career. He's from Hackensack, New Jersey. You know, this guy never stops talking, and he delivers some of the funniest and the best promos in the world. And listen, if you don't want to be soft, you got to listen to what this man is saying straight up. The man goes under the moniker of @TheReal1 because he is a real one. And we're so excited to welcome him into the show. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Enzo Amore. What's up, Enzo? How are you, brother?
How we doing, dude? Fresh out the shower. Got a head looks like ramen noodles right now. Well, I was just on the West Coast, so I'm still catching up, man. I just got to the East Coast today. I have a concert tonight in Clifton, New Jersey at Dingbats with the rock band. I make rock too. I heard you allude to the rap career. I don't.
Yeah.
So if anybody is in the Jersey area, the tri-state area, New York City, you make a trip to Clifton tonight. That's what it is. It's in Clifton at Dingbats. Real One in the How You Doing band, Toy Machine, a few other bands. It's gonna be fun, and I get a microphone in my hand, so I'm not gonna fail.
That's for sure. We welcome you to the show, man. Thanks for taking the time. Obviously, as you said, you're getting off the plane yesterday. You're still recovering. I know what jet lag is like, but you're looking good. You're looking fresh. You're looking refreshed. Loving the hair. Loving the glasses.
Fresh as a daisy. Man. Right. I actually was just with Big Cass 2 days ago. There's a little video on my Instagram at Real1REAL1 for any fans out there interested in watching the Hardys and Big Cass match. That's on March 27th in Waterbury, Connecticut. Despite me saying Danbury in this, I say Danbury in the promo. It's in fucking Waterbury, but I didn't know. I thought it was in Danbury, but shout out my man AJ Galante from the Danbury Trashers, bro. I don't know if you guys watch that doc on Netflix. It's about the real life Tony Soprano, a guy that did Waste Management. He buys his son an official NHL minor league hockey team and makes him the GM. Yeah,
that's a great promo.
Yeah, he makes him the GM. So I actually sat down and interviewed AJ for my podcast, which will be coming out soon. Big things in the work. Enzo's going to be doing a podcast. Long time coming. A lot of people have been telling me to do it.
Yeah.
So
long time coming.
I just wanted to wait for the right opportunity to do it and make sure that I had all my ducks in a row. And shout out Nori, Drink Champs. Oh, there it is, bro.
Look at these guys.
But
Great
if you guys
to see
are ever,
you back, Kaz, man, how did this come about with you and Kaz again? You know, we've been following Kaz's journey as well, and what he's been through himself going this road to recovery. He looks stronger than ever over the last couple of years, man. Bringing you guys back together. How did this happen, or did you never lose contact? You're always in each other's lives as friends.
No, I mean, we did the Ring of Honor Madison Square Garden deal. That was the first time we were seen together outside of the WWE and or seen together since we broke up as a tag team and had a falling out in real life.
Yeah.
Big Cass went through his struggles and he reached out to me. We hadn't spoken for over a year. One time I saw my phone ringing, man, it just kept ringing and it was him. And I was actually with my mother and she was like, you need to answer that. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I picked it up. The guy who was on the phone wasn't Big Cass. I don't know who the fuck. Yeah, it was bad, bro. I don't know who I was talking to, but homie was going through a hell that I know is real. So shout out anybody going through that. Mental health issues are real. More importantly than anything, for me at least, the addiction that I got to witness. I know now it's a disease. I know now that it's real. And I know when I see people hallucinating on the side of the road in New York City, they're not smoking crack, dude. They're not on meth. That person is withdrawing from alcohol. Oof. And it's the craziest thing in the damn world because here it is on every corner of every street. And it's the one thing that can kill you from withdrawing. You're not going to withdraw from heroin and die. Dude, the worst withdrawal there is alcohol. And I watched Big Cass go through that personally, and it made a bond that's unbreakable between the two of us. As far as friendships go, the business will never come in between us again. It's exciting to see him doing his own thing, though. Out there in Impact. I know he's killing it. He's in the best shape of his life. Happy man. I'm happy for him. And I got my singles thing going on as often as I want. I mean, I gotta be honest with you. I mean, we're eating these indie streets up, dude. I mean, I think I'm making more towns than anybody in the WWE is over the past few years. You know what I'm saying? I'm making towns every weekend for months now. And it's a blessing, man. I just went out to Chickaloaf, Ohio, right?
Chillicothe.
Chillicothe. Okay, Chillicothe.
How the hell do you know the pronunciation of that town?
I'm from near the area. So.
Oh, right.
Oh, you are, brother. Yeah. You're that blessed to find that little hidden gem in America.
Chillicothe, brother. Yeah.
Chillicothe used to be the first, I think, capital of Ohio. That it got moved.
You are correct.
Then it got moved to Columbus, right? So whatever. Bottom line is, I go
out
for
there. The pro wrestling, stay for the history. I respect it. Go ahead.
And look it, man. Anybody wants to sell themselves short or try to blow smoke up their own ass and act like they're too big for a high school gym or an armory or something, bro. I got news for you, bro. Do a head count. Stand at the meet and greet line, and then see who paid you more money to wrestle on Monday Night Raw, or the guy that had the little show in the armory when you were sitting at your gimmick table signing. So I'm rich. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm rich these days. but thanks to all the fine folk in Chillicothe, whatever it is. The little hidden gem in America, I go out there, right? Bobby Fulton. It was the day before Scott Hall died. We can get into that. R.I.P. the GOAT.
Right.
Best bad guy that ever lived. But I saw Kevin Nash, and I was talking to him, and he's always been one of my OGs. He's been kind to me. And I walk up to him because his line is around the fucking corner, and so is mine. How you doing? I walked up to Kev. He said, "Oh, geez, been doing this a long time." And I'm like, "Bro, I'm getting raked over the coals here. I came in for a flat rate, and I'm looking up, and you could never have anticipated what we are looking at, dude. The whole state of fucking Ohio gathered to Chillicothe to this fucking high school, and bro, if I told you what I did that night, you would die. I had a main event match. My tag team partner, take 5 guesses. You won't get it.
Jeff Hardy.
No,
Coco,
but this is a dope ass Impact Jeff Hardy hoodie.
Yeah, so it's noted.
This is Jeff Hardy's hoodie from Impact Wrestling. You can't get this no more anyway. Wow. So I'll just tell you who my tag team partner. It was Wildfire Tommy Rich.
Wow. Okay.
Versus Mr. Hughes.
Yes. Curtis Hughes.
Yes, and somebody else, I don't know, bro. But let me tell you, we fucking had a barn burner. We went out there and tore the house down, bro.
That's awesome.
Oh my God, no, it was easy money, man. You walk into a crowd like this, a lot of kids, and that's the thing that I find that I did this, and those are the people that I do the best with, man. You know, for anybody who's a wrestler that wants to go out there and reinvent the wheel and jump and flip and do all that bullshit, go right the fuck ahead, man. I'll be the first one to tell you, you know, does that get you over? If it does, then keep doing it.
Right.
But odds the fuck are that it ain't getting you over, bro. Especially in the little fucking armory, man. Yeah, so I have a lot of fun. I like to work the microphone, get the crowd involved. People just want to do the YMCA. So if I can provide that with SAWFT, you know, give me a break, guys. I don't get involved in the semantics and the politics of pro wrestling and the, you know, who thinks they're great at wrestling or who think that the work rate. I was talking about this with Chris one time. I'm like, bro, miss me with all that, bro. I'd much rather be Jerry Lawler, you know?
Yeah, do your thing for a while. Exactly. Listen, y'all, watching us right now. If you got questions for Enzo, for the real one, for the certified G, send it in.
Yeah, guys, I just jumped out the shower. I just woke up. Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for giving me, you know, the good morning cup of Joe I needed. Actually, that's what I need to do. I need to get some fucking coffee, bro. But yeah, man. Any questions? Fire away, bro. I'm right here.
Aaron, you want to take the first question for Enzo?
Yeah, man. First of all, thanks for being on. And I just wanted to ask you. You talked about, first of all, we talked about a minute ago, like how great of shape Cass is in, or W. Morrissey, whatever you want to call him.
I took my shirt off now. I think a few of you guys might stand up in your pants.
I was gonna say I've seen the Instagram posts. I'm like, you ain't no slouch in the gym. Like we're not talking about Enzo shape right now.
You know, guys, man, it's really funny. You know, I had no ego in the WWE despite any preconceived notion. When I got in the ring, I didn't give a fuck what happened. Call it, ding, ding, ding. Hit me from behind. I'll drop the fucking mic. We're in the heat. Look out.
Uh-oh.
I think we ripped the mic out.
Yeah.
Oh,
real one.
So I think your mic. He's cutting promos with no one even hearing. We can't hear you.
Can't hear you. Your mic came out.
Your mic came out.
I think your mic got separated, bro. Put us on speaker, bro. Technology on the certified G. But yeah, I mean, interesting stuff he's talking about, Chris, and him and Cass coming back together for this upcoming match against the Hardys. And that promo, I watched that promo before we got going here. Pretty intense stuff. Are you excited to see these guys together again? Is it nice to see Cass and Enzo doing their thing? And certainly him spitting some truth that they had some real issues between them.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, you know, I'm not gonna break kayfabe too much, but you know, I've been friends with Enzo for a while and got to in real time see that whole thing happen, and it's incredible, you know, to finally see them back together. And then because I weren't they in that match that the Hardys returned to WWE at WrestleMania?
They were in that ladder match, yeah.
And so, you know, I know for a long time that they've been wanting to work the Hardys for a really long time, one-on-one, and now they finally get that opportunity. And it's going to be a real treat for everybody who's going to be there because, yeah, it's not a AEW show. It's not a WWE show. It's not Ring of Honor. It's going to be, you know, in the middle of Connecticut, and I'm going to be there.
Oh, wow.
There you go. Wow. Okay.
All right. Aaron, thoughts on that? Here we go. He's back now. All right, there we go. Unmute yourself, man. Unmute the mic. Okay. He's got a little bit. All right, Chris, why don't you give your thoughts here while Enzo's unmuting his mic here? Or Aaron, sorry.
I mean, now you guys got me again.
There you got it.
There we go.
Damn, sorry, guys. Gonna fix a cup of Joe, not your cup of average Joe people. That was funny, but I remember I used to use that joke a little here and there in NXT. What was the joke I just used on the Hardy Boys promo? I love popping Big Cass. When I could pop Big Cass, even on TV, like that's been the whole story of my career. That's all I'm trying to do, right? If I could pop Cass, I'll pop the people, right?
Right on. So, well, picking where we left off, dude. Enzo, Aaron was asking you about the shape that you're in now,
and I was alluding to something about my career in the WWE where I wasn't so poignantly lean or jacked or any of that, right? So, I come into pro wrestling. I never had a wrestling match before in my life. I wasn't on the indies, and I knew nothing about the actual business and things like that, right? And I quickly realized as a real athlete, and I will call myself a real athlete, all right? I 1,000-yard guy in high school, dude. Come on, give me a break. I'm a white running back. Like, I was fucking all state. And I know I'm an athlete. You throw me the ball, I catch it. You give me the basketball, I dribble it. You give me the baseball, I'm gonna fucking throw some heat right down the center plate. All right. So the point being is that I looked around the locker room and realized that this new game that I just got into had nothing to do with how athletic you were, how jacked you were. It had nothing to do with that physically. When you are in the ring, none of that shit fucking matters. I don't care who you are. They're a liar. Anybody can work. Dusty Rhodes can go out there and have a 1-hour Broadway if you know how to work. So I realized that, man, these guys know how to wrestle, and they know how to wrestle their asses off, and they've been doing this shit a long time. Like, I got to learn. There's got to be something else that I could do that's going to get me elevated on the card or get me involved in the show. And I looked around at these body guys. And so many of them, bro, you looked around, they were by the dozen, man. They were everywhere, and they were jacked to the gills, bro. Everybody looked like a movie. Yeah. Then little Enzo and Cass, we get lucky. We get over like wildfire, right?
Oh, yeah.
Bro, I stopped lifting weights and stopped working out, period. I was like, dude, the only thing you got to do in this business is get over. So then I'd see guys at the curtain getting their pump, you know what I'm saying, before they go through the curtain, like rubbing oil on their body. And it was the same thing every time. I was always like, yeah, no pump zone. No pump zone. I would go out, no pump, no lift, no push-ups. I didn't even stretch. I'd be hitting the weed vape backstage. High as a kite, just smoking weed and really having a good time. I guess that's what it boiled down to. I was probably drinking a little too much, probably about 3-4 days a week.
Wow.
I was
Ric Flair diet.
Oh yeah, man. And hitting the treadmill and doing the deck of cards. So all I really did was cardio, and that was here and there, but I got my cardio in the ring in my perception.
Sure.
So
yeah, you were known for doing short matches. So yeah, you got your cardio in the ring for sure. Yeah. Chris, you got questions for Enzo here before we get turn it over to some of the people who sent in the questions?
Well, I alluded it because I talked about how you and Cass were in that ladder match that the Hardys made their WWE return. How's it feel to be working them again, but this time one-on-one?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that was probably the greatest return in the history of pro wrestling business as far as pop goes.
Wow.
I don't know if you guys would,
I was there.
I don't know. Yeah. So a few of you guys were there. That was the loudest I'd ever heard in my life. And maybe I'm being selfish because I was in the ring. So people always say to me, this is Eric speaking, by the way. Oh, why didn't you and Cass get the titles? And oh, you should have won the titles. I'm like, man, in my rookie year, they built an entire story around into WrestleMania ladder match around me and Cass.
Yeah.
Right? In my rookie year, I'm on the card in a ladder match. I'm lucky to be on the card. What the fuck is anybody talking about? Like, dude, you know how many matches there are that day, and not many of them, feature these acts that allow. Look at I didn't want to be a guy in the Battle Royal. No offense to anybody who was in it. I didn't want to be on the pre-show. And we had our match stole the show, from what I understand. I have never watched it back, ever.
Wow.
I've never seen it. And that was the case, as I was a guy who went to the Comedy Store a lot, and I got to hear stories about Piper. And I knew early on that he didn't watch any of his shit back. And that was only if he felt it was good. I'm sure he watched some of the stuff that he didn't feel good about, as do I. Because if something goes wrong, or I said the wrong thing, or I didn't remember how the promo went, and I went out there and I just had to ad lib, or I took part B and I put it in part C, and put part D and put it in part A, and all of a sudden the promo's all over the place. I always find myself getting back to the finish. That's the most important thing in a wrestling match. Most important thing in a promo, get to the finish.
Yeah.
In this particular thing, man, with the Hardy Boys, the finish for me was just the way it should have been. It was perfect. It was the Hardys making a return and winning the titles. It wasn't about me. It wasn't about Cass. Although, give ourselves business credit, like as businessmen, you guys told a story as the baby faces in a match that led to a ladder match that no one knew the Hardys was coming back for, and they had a vested interest in watching you. So, I mean, wow, great accomplishment. Hats off to Big Cass. Got it done, did Mania, and now you're immortalized. And so once you do one, you don't have to do two, bro. I'm fucking good on that.
Speaking of immortalized, I saw this. I wanted to bring it up to your attention here. This is what's going on here? What is why?
Yes, and you're immortalized.
2K22. What is going on here?
Wait, they put me in 2K22?
No, you need to be in 2K22 because
I was definitely the coolest guy in the fucking video game. That was all I wanted to do as a kid, right? Was be an action figure or be in a video game. Part of the process of that when I got into the WWE in my mind was just that. How do I become the coolest looking action figure?
Yep.
How do you do it? And that is and should be something that wrestlers on the indies or trying to make it now, they think way more about that. They should be putting more effort into their gimmick, what they look like in their character, as opposed to the wrestling moves. So if I was somebody out there, I would just say to myself, what's the coolest toy in the toy store aisle? Walk up and down, find it, be that. You know, like I was a kid, I bought Jake the Snake's toy, Hasbro toy, before I even knew what wrestling was. He had a fucking punch arm. He threw a straight right hand, and he had a snake. And I was like, fucking guy's cool as shit. He looked like my dad.
Well, let's and I see you all sending some questions here in the chat, guys. I'm not going to bring your question onto the screen unless you send it as a Streamlab or super chat. You got to support the show, support in that way, and support getting great guests like Enzo onto the show. Yeah.
Before you get there, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Enzo. Like I was watching back some old clips, and there was this segment of where it was Gallows and Anderson. You guys were during that feud, you and Cass, and they took the microphone away. Like they were like, nope, no microphone. We're not doing the SAWFT. You guys aren't doing it. And you did it anyway without the microphone.
I remember that.
And just the crowd. Like I have never in my life, outside of maybe The Rock, ever heard something like that in my entire life. And like they knew it. They knew it. They were with it. And it was just as loud as if you had the microphone and you were leading them. Tell me about that.
I mean, it was just another day at the office, dude.
I don't know about that, man.
I guess so. You know, that's the one. A lot of people bring that up a lot. To me, that was nothing when it was happening. I felt like everybody knew that that's what was going on anyway. If I didn't have the mic in my hand, they were going to do it. You know what I mean? If I only said one word, all these house shows I would do, I'd be like, my name is, and I'd hold the mic up, and I am. You know, and I just let them do it. So we all knew that it was going to be like that, but like we didn't realize, I guess, maybe how big of a deal that is or the way it's perceived. But man, to me, like that was just like, bro, watch. They sang along with us every other night. So I guess the anticipation of that wasn't overwhelming for me. I figured it was going to work, but I guess that's what made me. I was so not in the wrestling bubble and not thinking about wrestling the way everybody else did. I guess I was just having fun. And I felt like the fun factor was the only thing that mattered when I came out or Cass came out. If you were having a good time, the it correlated to numbers. It correlated to the crowd participating, and that's all I needed to do in my job. So, you know, there's a lot of different spots on the card. And if you're in the main event match, you got to go out and have a main event match. And if you're in the match before intermission, you know, you got to go out there and send them to intermission happy. If you're in the opener, you got to get them hyped. You got to go straight through, no false finishes. Save that for the other matches on the card. I was Enzo and he was Cass, and it was a real easy gig, bro. I had a fucking good time.
Well, let me follow up with this one for you. Like of course we just lost Scott Hall. We talked about it a little bit. You talked about talking to Big Kev, and of course we know that Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, like great friends, like life friends.
Yeah.
How important is it to have someone like that? Like you have Cass, you have other people. How important is that?
I think that there's not a part of my soul, and his was missing. Like, I think if you spend enough time with another human being, and that goes for a relationship with your girlfriend or your family, I think that your spirit somewhat connects to theirs. I think that you can feel what they're feeling. You know, when you're with your girl and she's sad or something, you feel that in your gut, your intuition. Right. I think there's a science behind that. I think there's something real to it, and I don't know exactly, but we're kindred spirits, me and Big Cass. We are definitely connected spiritually. And there is not enough that can be said. Man, I did it for a generation, and I'm right in between generations right now. So let's just say, you know, you got the top generation, they're bread, and the bottom generation is bread, and everything's money, right? And then the middle, you put money in the middle, and motherfucking me and Cass are in our prime right now. So it would probably be in our best interest to do something, and we'll see what happens in the future. I'm having fun, you know, being a singles competitor, and that's the point of it. Is what we did cannot be replicated. It won't ever be. You could have another Road Dogg, another Billy Gunn, but you won't have another Enzo and Cass. You can have another Enzo and Cass, but you won't have another Enzo and Cass. You understand what I mean? Because I get the correlations and the comparisons throughout my career. You guys are just like Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, you know, New Age Outlaws. Me and Cass would hear that a lot. Really? In the end, though, there is only a few tag teams in this world, in the history of our business, that you could put in that elite category of that's a tag team. You don't look at one guy and look at you look at both guys and you say that's a team, right?
Yeah.
And you had the Road Warriors, who got the greatest ovation in the history of pro wrestling, and it was called a Road Warrior pop for a reason, right?
Yep.
Man, people don't realize it's double the amount of energy. Two people. You're cheering for two people as opposed to one. It gets louder in that building when Road Warriors come out than when Hogan comes out. You know, it's two people you're cheering for. So that might even be more people cheering, or it just might get louder in that bitch. Yeah. Well, me and Big Cass, man. Whoa. I mean, we had some great pops over the years, dude. Yeah. They might want to rename that thing the fucking Enzo and Cass pop for the fucking for the fucking mid to late 2000s here that we're in. But
right on. Before we get
it was also built by an Orlando crowd that you know, man, dude, they made me look like a star when we were in this little place that we never left. And here they are chanting every word along with us. And now when we go to the UK for the first time, they know this shit. And it's like, bro, what the fuck is going on here? You know?
Chris, you want to, before we get to the fan questions, Chris, do you have a question for Enzo as well?
No, let's get to
I don't even think I fucking answered that question, bro. That last one. Hey, look it. Me and Big Cass are a tag team. And what we did, it goes down in the history books and it can never be undone. And I'm super proud of it. Yeah. And there's like I said, a connection, a bond there that can't be broken. And we are one of the only people in the entire universe, probably, and we are. I know we are because I was fucking there. That got to stand on top of the mountain together and hear these crowds in China, Ecuador, Chile, Peru, Japan, Germany, and everywhere, India, and they all are saying our shit with us. And I hear every accent in every city in the South. We spoon feed it to them. We go to Germany, I can hear their accents, bro. It was insane. So imagine I lost that guy.
Yeah.
I was not about to let that happen. I'm sorry. When he reached out to me and he was going through his thing, I'm not perfect. I'm not an angel, and Lord knows I have my issues. But fuck, man, like I tried. And the bottom line is that you can't help anybody until they want to help themselves.
Yep. Number one.
So he got it, and he wanted to help himself. But man, you know, I to your point, bro, he tried to take his own life. And you know, I remember one time we were driving back from Chicago because he couldn't fly because it was bad. Mm-hmm. And we just went to Notre Dame because I'm a big Notre Dame fan, and I had never seen the cathedral. And I looked at him and I was like, brother, you need fucking Jesus, dude. I was like, I don't know, bro.
Touchdown Jesus.
I don't know what the fuck to do for you, bro. Like I'm popping for him. He's drunk. He's falling already. You know, but like it's not funny at all. But
right.
I'm driving him. I'm about the only guy who can look at him and laugh, and he can laugh. So you had to get through that the way we did. But more importantly than anything, you know, like I wasn't about ready to lose him, and I knew that, man, what more could I couldn't help him. Maybe Jesus could. So we went to church that day. We said some serious prayers. He went off to rehab sometime soon after that, got his life together, inspired so many people. So it's crazy, man. I could have lost my best friend in the world, and there's nothing that would have filled that void ever. Yeah. I would have had to go on. That, like we've had the luxury of seeing Scott Hall and Kevin Nash at these meet and greets for years.
Yeah.
Nothing's ever going to be the same for Kev at this point. It's it's going to be very hard for him. But same goes for Animal. I had the luxury of being in Qatar with Animal. The show that we did for QPW and Ali in Qatar, they had every pro wrestler that ever fucking pro wrestled that wasn't in WWE there. This is big money show, dude. Big. And it was actually the second match I ever had outside WWE. And I was working Brian Pillman Jr., who I got booked over there in Qatar when the promoter asked me if I would come. I said, I want to work Pillman Jr. So I was over there with Animal from the Road Warriors for one extra day when Eric Bischoff, who was the GM on the show, and Kevin Nash, everybody went home. I was stuck for one extra day with the Sheik taking a private tour of Qatar on the last international trip that Road Warrior Animal ever was on.
Wow.
Actually, it was probably the last trip he ever did because it was in February 22nd of 2020. So before the lockdown.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. I had an opportunity to speak with Animal, and he talked to me all about that, you know, and it was a bond that only Animal and Enzo share. No one else in the fucking world. There ain't another tag team guy in the world that can fucking relate to going up and down the road and watching somebody go through hell and watching them suffer with addiction and nearly losing them and all the reactions that you got and the Road Warrior pops you got. Like, God put me in that position to have a whole fucking day with Animal, man. And I believe firmly everything happens for a reason. That was one of the best days of my life. One of the greatest blessings I've ever received.
Respect. That's awesome. And ladies and gentlemen, please, as you're watching this, we've got almost 100 of y'all watching us right now. Please hit that like button. If you're watching later, leave a comment. Let's get some questions here from fans. Chris Taylor saying, Enzo, what is one thing that needs to change in pro wrestling?
Guys need to learn how to get over.
That's it. Straight up. All right. That's maybe the most succinct answer I've ever heard Enzo deliver. All right, Chris Miner says, Enzo, how you doing? I hear many bad stories of the differences between NXT and main roster in terms of freedom, fun writing, etc. How was that transition for you?
Well, NXT for me was like not even high school. It's more like middle school, bro. It's like,
wow. It's
like, you know, every day I walk in there, you know, there's a chance that Enzo to the office. Oh, bro. So here's what you need to know about me, man. You guys were watching me on TV, right? Or in NXT, and I'm having fun. That's what's important. I rode a Harley Davidson to work. I was dating Liv Morgan at the time. I'd be shirtless on a fucking bike with my hair blowing in the fucking wind, dude. Pull the motorcycle right up to the WWE Performance Center every day, park it in front of the doors so you had to walk around it to get in, and put my shirt on to walk into the building. And I lived the dream. I am alive. I never crashed the motorcycle. I sold the Harley last year. I had it for 10 years. And, I was that guy, bro. I was fucking Logan, dude. I was just ripping a bike, shirtless through Florida, making towns, wrestling with this girl I was dating at the time. That was another thing, okay, so I had a girl when I was in NXT. Now I'm on the main roster, and then, I'm single. So there's a lot more out there for you when you're single as far as the night goes and what you're chasing and what it is. So I started, probably, ending up in places and with people and drinking and around, another thing is, you got to know who you're in the car with. Are they trying to get to the same destination you're trying to go to? But fuck it, man. You can only be famous for the first time once, and you can only live the dream like I did. And they'll make a movie about it. I'm sure I'll get a motherfucking phone call from Vince trying to make that goddamn Page movie about me and Cass one day. But, yeah, dude. I mean, I have one of the greatest stories in the history of pro wrestling. I got a tattoo on my leg for my high school gym membership because I couldn't afford to work out with that trainer, Joe DeFranco. Joe DeFranco got a phone call from Triple H. He had no idea who Triple H was, but he knew that EA all day as I went by in the fucking gym that always pretended to be a pro wrestler, loved wrestling. So he comes up to me and he goes, "Do you know who Paul Levesque is?" I'm like, "Fucking what? Call him back. Call him back right now. You need to go train that guy, Joe." So now Joe, my man Joe is training Triple H, and I want to show Triple H a video of me, but like, who am I, right? I just got done playing college football. Well, P.S. that video goes viral. It's on Barstool Sports, and it's got thousands of views leading up to Victor Cruz in the Super Bowl. It's a video of me talking shit about the New York Giants and Victor Cruz, right? I would never talk shit about the Giants. I was talking shit about Victor because I used to play against Victor Cruz in high school, and I quite frankly mollywopped the fucking floor with him. My team didn't do so well, but I had a 75-yard touchdown. I had some tackles. It was a good game. Anyway, the video goes viral, and then I get a tryout in the WWE because Triple H sees it. The day I try out, Dusty Rhodes is there. Dusty Rhodes calls the office and says, "Sign this kid." And the rest is history. I walk in, I do 1 full year at the Florida Championship Wrestling, 1 exact full year. And then that year turned into building the Performance Center, literally putting up the rings, tying the ropes, and putting up the weight room equipment and painting the walls. I was a part of the crew of NXT guys that were brought in from FCW. Mm-hmm. So then I go into NXT. Man, every single show that ever left the state of Florida for the first 2.5 years of the NXT brand, Enzo and Cass were the first music you heard. I opened every fucking show while the rotating parts of women and men on the main event or in the tag match, whatever, they all fluctuated. But Enzo and Cass, opener, everywhere we went, first thing you heard. So that's timing. That's timing. That has a lot less to do with me as much as it does getting lucky. Right. So you can't relive this shit now. There's an AEW, there's all these other things, bro. I was stuck in it when there was one place to really go. And then they poached the Ring of Honor, the New Japan guys, the Impact guys. You got Joe, you got fucking Finn, you got, AJ, you got all these people coming in. But we were homegrown talent. I was the only one that was really homegrown there that never wrestled before in his life that made it besides Mojo and Baron Corbin. But Charlotte had it in her blood, but she never wrestled before. But besides us four, two guys that were in the NFL, one guy that played college football, was working on a moving truck, and fucking Ric Flair's daughter. They brought in 30 of us in that class, and there's only 4 of us that survived. And fucking of all of them, shit. I mean, I don't think anybody anticipated, that I was going to fucking do anything. So good, man. Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, being the underdog sometimes is the best way to go. Steven Escalante says, "What's up, Enzo? Who's your favorite heel right now in AEW and WWE? Can you say?"
I don't watch any fucking AEW or WWE. Are you guys out of your fucking mind? Fuck. You guys, come on, man. I've had 1,000 pro wrestling matches, and I've had to sit through every single card at the monitor or at the curtain, watching every single match going on those shows. I know those people that are on WWE. I know some of them in AEW. Not throwing shade at any of them. I appreciate them and their work, and I'm happy that there's more jobs in pro wrestling for pro wrestlers. I'm a busy motherfucker, dude. I don't watch TV. I don't have cable. I don't give a fuck about cable. I unplugged the router in 2020 when everybody else should have. I don't watch the news. I don't buy into propaganda, and I don't give a fuck. Believe half of what you see and less of what you hear. I know how the world works because I was on the other side of a curtain and I saw how vicious it could be assumed that you know, a topic or, you know, a rumor. I see how the world can perceive. And I also know that we can be lied to. And I have manipulated wrestling fans as well as anyone in the history of this business. So between jumping the guardrail at Madison Square Garden with Big Cass, or going to Survivor Series and buying a ticket myself, I know everything that's going to be said when I do those things. When I go to Survivor Series, I anticipate the haters. I anticipate the reaction. I anticipate the people thinking that they know Eric, the human, and thinking that I'm selfish or that I'm about myself, or I ruined the moment for the other guys on the roster, or I didn't deserve them. There's people, bro. I have one obligation right now in my life, and that's fucking me. I don't work for a company that's a Fortune 500 company that tells me I can't curse or I can't be seen with a beer in my hand and a picture. I did that for 7 years. And I did that as well as anybody in the history of our business because I never, ever cursed. When you watch Enzo back, you will hear bitch come out of other people's mouth. You will hear, you know, and then you think about it. Okay, oh, hell yeah, middle fingers, stick it up, shove it sideways and stick it straight up your candy ass. Even go as far back as, you know, John Cena and Thugonomics and the things that they were doing and saying. Bro, I didn't have that luxury. I was on a PG PC product. So it was way more hard, and you had to be way more creative to do that. And I think that I'll get my flowers eventually when people look back and they're like, man, he fucking invaded Survivor Series. And then that parlayed into a spot of him jumping a guardrail at Madison Square Garden. Like, I'm one fucking man, bro. I'm one guy.
That was one of my favorite friendship moments of you and I. When I knew you were in New York, I just got a feeling in my gut that morning. I had been texting you all day. Are you about to do something? Are you about to like make a scene? You didn't hit me back. You hit me back maybe 2 minutes after it happened. I didn't want to lie to you, brother. I love this guy.
Oh man, yeah, that was the craziest thing I've ever done in my life. And we might be the only people in the history of Madison Square Garden to have a real fist fight with no referees and no fucking, you know, hand wraps, bare knuckle fucking basically fight out there. You know, how I was looking around for my grandkids the next day. Like, I got to tell these kids about this shit, man. Like, they're not going to believe what their grandpa did, you know? Like, that fucking... But the creative that went behind that and the production was very much so my brainchild. So the idea of not letting anybody in on it was discussed with Sinclair Broadcasting and Ring of Honor, and it was made to bring home a very valid point. If you tell one person this thing's getting out, everybody's going to know about it. For one, anybody in the ring finds out that's in the match, it's going out. They're going to, all right. For two, the only way they're going to think this thing is real is if we actually hit each other, A, and B, if they don't film it with the cameras and the commentary team is not smartened up so that when this happens, we get a shoot reaction from the commentary team.
Right. And
that was it. Joey Mercury, dude, it's like stars aligning once again, man. My first opponent in the WWE main roster is Bubba Ray, right? It's him and Joey Mercury, my first coach in the WWE, who are producing this, who wanted me on the show. And they're working with Sinclair. And like, what are the odds that the first guy I wrestle and my first coach are fucking the producers of this show at Madison Square Garden?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was crazy, man.
We got another question. We got a couple more questions. I know we got to get you out of here. And so the Last Cinema Sailor said, Real One, thank you for being here. Could you describe your favorite house show experience or what can make a small venue the greatest experience for a wrestler? Survey says you're a certified G. So, yeah.
Thanks, buddy. Man, favorite house show, bro, is probably the 205 Live. The last match I ever had in my life was 205 Live, main event marquee headline in the Mid-Hudson Civic Center, which is where Andre the Giant got his hair cut by Big John Studd, where Macho Man debuted with Miss Elizabeth. There's been countless things that happened there. Very prestigious arena for pro wrestling, and Vince made it that way. So the first match that I had outside of the WWE was also in that building.
Wow.
And that was how that happened. I told you, man, things just happened for me organically. Like I wasn't looking to wrestle. And I went to go watch Big Cass wrestle Jon Moxley. That was the first independent appearance I ever made in my life. I didn't even know about the indies. And man, I was sitting in the ring, like elbows on the ring, you know, working the apron for Big Cass and Moxley's first match outside WWE. And it was at a Six Flags Great Adventure, and they drew thousands of people, bro. And that was the first time I was in a non-WWE wrestling show. And I saw thousands of people, and I saw two guys doing whatever they wanted. Right. And no producers and no nothing. And I was like, man, and that day is when I met Brian Pillman Jr., and he came up to me, and Brian Pillman Jr. gave me the greatest compliment I've ever received in my life, maybe. He said, you know, he's really cool with Stone Cold Steve Austin. He calls him for some advice. His dad was, you know, in the Hollywood Blondes with him. And I was like, damn, kid, that's pretty fucking cool that you just, you know, you got that fucking Stone Cold at your disposal, you know, which, you know, I'm selling myself short. It took me a minute. I wasn't born into it like he was, but during the height of my WWE run, I was constantly on the phone asking Stone Cold questions,
Wow.
which was amazing.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so thank you, Steve. I appreciate that, man. But dude, that house show that Big Cass wrestled Moxley on is when I met Pillman. He comes up to me and he's like, hey, man, I talked to Steve Austin. I asked him for advice, and he told me how to learn how to work the stick like Enzo.
Wow.
So the only advice that you get from Stone Cold about wrestling is learn how to work the stick like Enzo. Holy shit. So I walked right up to the promoter, Mike Lombardi. I was like, I want to wrestle this kid. Where's your next match going to be? And he said, Mid-Hudson Civic Center. I'm like, you're fucking shitting me, bro. He looked at me and I was like, dude, that's where I had my last match in the WWE. Wow. So my two favorite matches that I've ever had, I think were my last one and my first one on the indies. I think the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. I think it was 205 Live. And the reason why it was my favorite show, obviously, because I fucking produced the show. Like, I produced 205 Live. So I'm a producer. I'm a wrestler. I write all my own material. And at this point, Vince McMahon has shoved a rocket up my ass and said, we're going to make the Cruiserweight title the fucking main event of Monday Night Raws. Because we got Brock on the fucking road and Goldberg who are fighting for that title, and they're not there every house show to defend it. Then, you know, that parlays into, fuck it, the Cruiserweights are doing their own tour. You know, we're making more money for the company. Fuck it. So now I have never, if you paid attention to my career, I've never been in the main event title match in NXT. I never had to carry that. You know, in the opener, I was drinking beer by the time the main event was on. You know what I'm saying? So if you're me, all you wanted to do in your entire career was for you, right? It wasn't for anybody else but me to accomplish these things in knowing that I could do them. Until you have a main event match on the main roster for a title and take a brand on tour, you won't know you can do it.
Yeah.
You don't know that you can do that thing. You don't know that you can go out there and wrestle for 20 minutes, 30 minutes for a title, hold the crowd there in the main event, make them care. And so for me, I proved to myself that I could do something. I've had main event matches on Monday Night Raw. Plenty of them, actually. It's funny. I never did a live event. I never had the live event, main event one-on-one. I've been in main event live events for NXT and tag matches. I've been in main event live events or dark segments with John Cena being in a tag. But this isn't Enzo versus another guy one-on-one for a title, marquee headline. All the promotion and the business and advertising and marketing was that.
Yeah.
So once you do that, what are the odds that it's your last day at work? It's the day before Raw 25.
Yeah.
So I did that one thing that I needed to do for me and nobody else. Was I proved it to myself that I could do this shit.
Yeah.
And once I did that, I didn't really care. I was like, I didn't really have anything to prove. I already did Mania. I already won a title. I was like, dude, I never anticipated like anything outside. I never thought I'd win a title. I never, so it was like, man, you took a brand on tour. Not only that, you opened up every single tour for NXT. Don't ever forget, that gold and black brand was put on the map by me and Big Cass in every fucking city that we ever went to. Wherever it was, Milwaukee, how you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, okay, I got a brand on tour, and then I brought a brand on tour again, and I closed it out.
Right.
And I fucking main evented it. It's like, bro, that's a storybook career for a movie one day that, you walk into Raw 25, you go through your rehearsal, you're supposed to be in the main event of that. You're supposed to lose your title to APA at the poker table. Nia Jax wins it back. She catches you fucking making out with Alexa Bliss backstage. You fucking went through a table. The Dudley Boys finally got redemption on you. You wrestle Goldust one-on-one. Bro, the whole Raw 25 episode was rewritten at like 6 p.m. because the whole show was what I just told you.
Wow.
So my last day of work was my best day of work, man. That was that.
Okay. Haskell 420 in here says, good morning and welcome, Enzo, to the show. What was one of the funniest promos you did in WWE? Do you ever get to the back do you ever get to the back and see everyone just crying, laughing at what you did?
Every fucking time. No, that was sarcasm, guys. To your point, man, the thing I did without the microphones.
Unreal.
That blew everybody's mind. And to me, I didn't even, dude, I'm pretty sure like I left the building right after that because like we had a drive somewhere. And like I didn't stick around and get my flowers. I like had my bags packed. And I was like, all right, guys, thank you. Fucking man. Who the promos are dude, the best promo that I've ever done in my entire life.
Ooh.
Me and Big Cass breaking up.
Oh.
Bro, I got a crazy story for that. We're in overtime. I don't know if you guys do an hour only, but I'm down for a little OT if you want it.
Go for it.
Yeah, sure. We got a couple of stories to get to, but we'll wrap up with you for sure in a little bit in a few minutes. So go ahead, man. Go ahead, brother.
All right. So Roppongi, Japan. I'm there, dude. It makes fucking Vegas seem like Jacksonville, Florida. Anything goes. It's wild, right? I've never been to Japan, and I go out by myself in Japan. Don't remember a goddamn thing. Get back to my hotel. Big Cass comes flying in the room. Fucking bang. I thought he was going to whoop my ass. What the fuck is wrong with you? We got to get out of the bus. So I'm about to miss the bus in Japan, man. We're going, fuck. Cass saves my life. I get on the bus. No heat, right? Look at all my credit cards got stolen.
Oh, shit.
And now they're getting racked up. And I'm like, oh my God, bro. So I have no money. I'm coming from Japan, and we have a layover in Dallas for like 3 hours on our way to like Phoenix, I think it was. And in the meantime of that, it's the 4th of July coming up, and I flew all my friends from high school out to my house in Hollywood. I lived in the Hollywood Hills like the Entourage. Chris been there mad times with my best friends from high school. That's what I mean.
Let's not tell any stories from that house. Let's not tell any.
Look, the fun factor could not be relived. I did it, guys. Like what you would anticipate your favorite pro wrestler doing if I was that for anyone. Riding a motorcycle, dating a young wrestler, fucking riding a motorcycle up to work. Fuck it. Done with that. Going to the Hollywood Hills with my best friends from high school, bro. And now I'm on the road and I'm living the dream, bro. Like I came from a small town. This isn't normal life, living in Hollywood, meeting Drake and getting invited to the Weeknd's birthday party and the Maxim Hot 100 party. I'm like, where the fuck? What's going on right now? You know what I mean? So I wanted my friends to see that. And I literally spent like 10, 12 grand flying everybody I knew out to fucking Hollywood to stay at my house.
Wow.
And that night, we're in Phoenix. When we arrive to the arena, they give me the promo. Enzo, you're opening Monday Night Raw with a segment by yourself with the microphone, and you're gonna have to deliver the promo. That's the go home promo for you and Big Cass's match at Great Balls of Fire, right?
Yeah.
So that is when I arrived to the building from Roppongi, Japan. Straight from Roppongi. I was wearing this fucking this like button down Asian shirt that I bought in Japan, apparently, with that money that I had no more. But I had an American flag bandana tattooed around my head, and I was wearing jeans with this giant hole in the knee that actually happened like on the flight home. And when I got to the arena, I never got changed. And when I was walking backstage, everybody's like, yo, you look awesome. That's a great outfit. I love your shirt. and normally I would wear Enzo shit when I go through the curtain. But because I just kept getting complimented on this outfit, I was like, fuck it, I'm wearing this out there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that whole outfit, the reason why I wore it is because of that. Now I'm out there and I got this one black tear that I drew on my face because in the previous week, me and Big Cass on Monday Night Raw in the Staples Center had the #1 ratings draw in the WWE in like 2 years when we broke up.
Wow.
So the #1 ratings draw on all of television was Enzo and Cass breaking up that year. All right. It was the biggest draw they had. So the next week, I'm in the opening segment Monday Night Raw, and I deliver to me what I perceive to be the best promo I've ever cut. And then when I get done with it, I walk to the curtain and I realize, dude, all my friends are at my house in Hollywood. It's fucking Phoenix. I can catch a flight right now to get home to Jersey. So everybody anticipating me in Hollywood to be there the next day for that party you were at, Chris.
Yes.
I call my best friend. I'm like, look, I ain't got no goddamn money. My credit cards are all fucked up. I need you to buy me this flight. I'll pay you back and get me an Uber to the building, right? But then I couldn't get an Uber because my phone wasn't working, right? So I'm like, fuck. So then the guy who's a runner, they just bring in people to like go to Walmart or something, you know? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, hey, I asked the production manager, I'm like, you got a runner that can drop me off at the airport? I'm like, yeah. I get in the car with this guy. He lights up a blunt. We're smoking a blunt now. I'm on the way to the airport. Fucking, like, this is the best day of my life, dude. So like now I'm smoking. I get in the airport. I'm watching Raw in the bar at the Phoenix airport. I've just been on the show 30 minutes ago. Then I get to my house in LA and my friends are watching Raw on the TV. And I got home before it ended. And I surprised all of them by running backwards straight into my house into the pool. Fully clothed. And the outfit I was alluding to before. I never took it off.
Right on. All right.
That was rock and roll, yeah.
Respect. One last question here from Dagan. Hey, Dagan, good to see you in here, man. Dagan S. Broad. He said, hey, yo, Enzo, any thoughts on the Acclaimed in AEW, and would you rap battle Max Caster if you had the chance?
I don't know who the Acclaimed are. I don't know anything about AEW. I do know who Max Caster is.
Oh, okay.
I met him in NEW doing an independent show. And I've seen, I get tagged in a lot of things that like guys like Max Caster and MJF do. People obviously see guys on the microphone and they want to, tag me and things and stuff like that. I mean, I'm happy for everybody that has an opportunity to hold a fucking microphone out there. I don't know people. I don't know you. So how the fuck can I sit here and talk about the person other than the fact that there's an opportunity in pro wrestling and he's the one getting it?
Right.
And I don't have any ill will towards anybody who gets opportunities in this business, especially when I'm not even fucking like in it. Like I'm not in this shit full time. I do this shit at my own leisure. I make music and I have a good time doing that.
Right.
I would say though, the one thing I will say to all the people that tag me in shit with people and like think that like, I get it, would make for good money. But guys, I was a babyface for 5 fucking years, maybe 6. All right. The guys you're talking about are heels. You're talking about heel work on a microphone.
Yeah.
Don't ever compare my babyface work on a microphone to a fucking heel on a microphone. Ever. If I want to fucking heel flip like a skater, I can like that, motherfucker. Like, it's the easiest thing in the world. Ohio, how you doing? You're supposed to say terrible because you're in Ohio. What the fuck are we talking about? Being a heel was the best, easiest job I ever had. I did nothing in the matches. Nothing. I worked the mic and I kicked the guy in the nuts and rolled him up to win every night. Yeah. Had the place livid, but very entertained, right? And that was my job. So a heel to me is way easier on the mic. Mm. You try going to every single town in NXT that for the first time ever, all the way through that, I never fucking went down, guys. Mm-hmm. I went up and I got a title and got fired. I never went down. I never let you down. If you put the mic in my hand and I had to pop the town as a babyface or get people to react that weren't wanting to react or go out there after somebody just fucking stunk up a fucking match or a show or something, it was on Enzo to go get them back.
Yeah.
And I would love to see another babyface come through the ranks and have the crowd in the palm of his hand and with the microphone, and that's every night. I got the mic every night. So
yeah.
Heel work, you can't compare Enzo to heel work on a microphone. If you want to compare my short, 8-month run or 6-month run as a heel, I mean that's some of the best goddamn work in the history of our business. Give a fuck anybody. Did anybody else put the cruiserweight title in the main event of fucking Monday Night Raw ever?
Right. Fair
no,
point.
I'm not
One
lying.
last question, because we got to get you out of here, Enzo, because we said we're over time here. So you just mentioned here, you're doing it at your leisure. You got your music stuff, you got other stuff going on.
I will say there's a product that I have my eye on that I love.
Okay.
For one, MLW.
Wow.
And the other would be NWA.
Interesting.
Two very different feels.
So those are the only ones you would be open to, right? You're not open to WWE.
No, I'm open.
AEW,
I'm open. I'll field any phone call from anybody at any time. I'm not going to hit the fuck you button on anybody. It doesn't mean, look, AEW is 52 weeks a year and twice a fucking week.
Yeah.
Everybody asking me to go there or telling me, for one, I don't own the company, so I don't make that choice. For two, it's like, I make good money. I'm very happy, and I'm living the dream. I have 10 years in pro wrestling now. I did enough. It's okay, guys. I started in 2012. It's 2022. Man, like, everybody wants your run to go on, or they want you to do that. It's like, man, Macho's run was 7 years, in the WWE. Like, my run was 7 years in the WWE. It's a fucking hell of a run. Not many people get to go there very long, So I ain't mad about it. And do I see myself on television again? I would tell you honestly, I have to be on television for the sake of my goddaughter. I have a goddaughter who, when at the height of my run and I was fired, she was very young. She was like 2 years old. Now she can walk and talk. She's 8. She's 7. So she actually turns 8 tomorrow. Shout out Ruby May. So I owe it to her to be able to see Uncle Eric do that thing that she doesn't understand yet. And I owe it to my mom and dad to let them see me do it again. Because the amount of joy that it brought to the people around me, man, that's the thing that was hard to deal with. Wow. That's the part that was hard to deal with. And especially the way I went out. I have family, and people that know me, everybody knows in the industry who I am, what I'm capable of, and it ain't that thing. So I had to deal with that. And man, it was hard, but now I feel like it would be nice to give them that peace, to see their son or their uncle out there and let the world know. Because until that happens, I feel like somewhere in the midst of somebody's mind, it's not okay or something. Like he didn't redeem himself. He didn't fully redeem himself until he's on television. But to that point, bro, I am about to make a TV show about a pro wrestler that's going to blow the fucking minds of everyone who watches it. It's unbelievable. And my brother, if you look him up, my brother's the goddamn man. He's younger than me, 9 years younger than me, but he's lucky he had an older brother that bought him a fucking red camera. This fucking kid, he shot the Motley Crue music video for Post Malone. He works with Cole Bennett and Lyrical Lemonade. He makes everybody's music videos. My little brother BA Cinema does every rapper in the fucking game, from Jack Harlow, What's Poppin' and all that shit, to fucking. So my little brother being the DP, hopefully, of this TV series that I wrote the script for. So
okay,
I'm a writer, guys. I wrote all my promos. It's time to parlay it into something where maybe if it's not me singing, maybe it's somebody else. Like, let me write a song for fucking Adele. You know, like, you know what I mean?
There you go.
I like this idea. Oh, it's good to have that perspective. Look, not a lot of people, they hang on until the end. They hang on. They're lifers. And we do respect the lifers, but also you got to respect the people that got what they got out of it, delivered some great product, have a bit of perspective about it, and realize there's other things in the world. And it sounds like
forgive me. There's a lot of people that I cannot hate on for this notion. They love wrestling more than they love themselves. They love wrestling more than they love themselves. They're willing to be shit on by the man, be told that, and have their whole life like fucked with every day. And they live and breathe off the fans that are talking about them on the internet, the reactions, the views, the videos, the fucking, the rumor mill, the dirt sheets, dude. That has never been me.
Right.
I don't read the comment section. I don't Google my name, and I don't fucking, I know what's out there.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. So I will say that I've always loved myself more than I loved pro wrestling.
Okay.
And self-love is frowned upon when it's seen, but when it's not seen, it's supposed to be something that is very important.
It's essential. Yeah.
Go fuck yourselves. You know what I mean? Like I have it one way or have it the other. No, motherfuckers. Yeah. Like, look, there's nothing wrong with being happy with yourself and being confident. Like, don't hate. People hate to see you having a good time. So any hater I ever had, it was just throwing shade at. Well, when are we got over here? Fucking hater. You know what I mean?
Right. It's people who are mad they're not doing what you're doing. That's for sure. Or
the only heat I ever had is, it's funny. We were me and Big Cass just did an autograph signing 2 days ago at High Spots, and the guys that were there were fucking super great. Thank you, Mike, and all those guys in High Spots. And Big Cass, it was like, I said to the kids, because they get caught up, I guess, in the hype. Young guys that want to make it in the business or the rumors. I don't talk like Enzo per se.
Right.
I don't run around backwards, and I'm not that intense. But, but the people who get caught up in what people are saying about them or some shit like that or whatever, dude. Like, man, I'm sorry for you. Like straight up, I'm sorry for you. You this shit's gonna eat you alive and spit you out. So Cass and I were sitting there at the meet and greet. One of these kids kind of asking some questions about heat and shit or whatever. I had heat or whatever. And I said, if you ask any single individual in that locker room or anyone in that company, I promise you, if you ask any one of them, or if I did, more fucking importantly, and this is all you need to do as a pro wrestler if you're having issues with somebody, be a man about it. Pull them aside and say, what have I ever done to you?
Right.
That's all I would do. What have I ever done to you? I have never said a word about you unless it was on the microphone out there. All right? I have never buried anybody. I have never done anything other than make other guys look good in the ring and lose to them and put everybody over. I'm not out here winning titles. What the fuck could you possibly be hating on me for? Yeah. Because I am who I am. Yeah. And you can't make everybody love you guys. So don't die on that fucking hill.
Yeah, respect. I always appreciate that for sure. You got a problem with somebody, you come and talk to them straight up. You pull them aside. You reach out to them. You say what's up. You don't be a bitch and go behind their back and make up shit just to make yourself feel better. Or
you see cowards. You see cowards go right back into their fucking assholes when you say to them, "What have I ever done to you?"
Oh yeah. Exactly.
Oh, you don't like me? I don't give a fuck. That has nothing to do with something I've done to you. You don't like me because you don't like me.
Right. Exactly.
But I never did anything to you for you not to like me. So right now you're dealing with your ego and your own issues. That ain't fucking me, bro. Peace out.
That's a great point. Great words of wisdom to end this interview on. I can't thank you enough for hanging out with us, Enzo. Thank you so much, Real One. Please promote everything you got going on, brother.
Smoke weed every day. Check it out, guys. Real One Music at Real One. Follow the handle. I got a concert tonight. We got the Gimmicks. Mila Kunis put out a cartoon about pro wrestlers.
Yes.
And I have the luxury of being Enzo in that fucking show.
Wow.
And I don't need to be much more than that in a cartoon voiceover gimmick, bro. I mean, I feel like Enzo was probably made more for cartoons than the WWE. So that character on steroids, dude, like just cranked up to 20 million. And then we got Doc Gallows, aka Sex Ferguson, Chad Too Bad, Machine Gun Carl Anderson, and Rocky Romero playing Chico. So we've got the guys from Talking Shop plus Enzo in Mila Kunis's brand new cartoon. The episode's out right now. You can find it on Twitter at The Real Gimmicks, on Instagram as well. And it's on my story on Instagram right now. It's really funny, dude. They have a character that obviously looks like Vince McMahon, just called the Boss. And he gets into the ring like in the cartoon. Now, mind you, I film the voiceover, do the voiceover, but I don't know what the cartoon's really about sometimes. And I'm not going to know until I see it what everybody else has done.
Right.
Bro, Vince McMahon goes running down to the ring to like get Enzo because on the Jumbotron, somebody fucking switches it to my sex tape.
Oh, yikes.
And he comes running down to the ring because he sees me banging his mistress, right? And it's on the jumbo screen. And right when he gets to the ring, he goes to the top rope and his quads just give out.
I was going to say, did he tear both his quads when he ran to the ring?
Gallows does the voiceover for Vince McMahon's character. He just hears me like, I tore my quads, my legs, my knees, my asshole.
Dude, Gallows does an amazing Howard Finkel as well. If you ever heard him do Howard
Gallows
Finkel,
does everybody. That was the thing. When I started talking to the people at Toonstar, they had reached out to me to create a wrestling cartoon. So I casted Gallows and those guys. Wow. So I just said to the guys at the cartoon, I go, hey, if you're looking for a wrestling cartoon, look no further than these assholes. And I sent them a link to Talking Shop. And I was like, Sex Ferguson, Chico, and Chad Too Bad. There's your fucking cartoon.
Right.
And we came up with the concept, and it's basically a sex tape airs on Enzo in the WWE, basically, for lack of a better word. It's in comedy, it's in parody, so you can get away with this shit. And I end up having to go to the Indies. And when I go to the Indies, it's Gallows and his ex-wife who own the indie promotion out in southern rural fucking, and now I'm doing it's funny, man. And it's at the Kayfabe Estates. I get put in a trailer, and we got some big guest stars too, big celebrities. I do hear rumors of Snoop Dogg being on it, and some big shit popping. You know, I got a TV. I also was in a movie. Big Cass was in a movie. I want to shout him out. He's in a horror movie too. I just filmed. I played in a movie called Jersey Bread that'll be coming out in 2022.
All right.
My first film. And I have a whole shit ton of music that I just dropped over the past month or two, and I have music videos that'll be coming out for that music.
Okay.
So check out Cup of Good Reason. I feel like wrestling fans are really gonna like that song. Cup of Good Reason. It's a rock song. So and then as far as the music goes, Cinematic Universe. And then I have a song called M and J, like Eminem and Jay-Z. Mm-hmm. Those two songs that just came out, Cinematic Universe, M and J, Cup of Good Reason. And then my entrance music I've been using at MLW that has the little ukulele fucking thing that the WWE had for my entrance at the beginning. That song is called Friends and Enemies. And I just want people to know, if they're a fan of me or my music at all, if you watch Phoenix or the song Phoenix and Bury Me a G, those two songs that I dropped in 2018 that got millions of views right away. I wrote this song when I wrote those two songs. So this song was written about what I was going, WWE type vibe. Like it was in that time. So releasing it, using it as entrance music, and the character that I'm portraying these days ain't running around. Enzo Amore lives in one place, WWE.
Right.
You want me to play Enzo Amore? you either go watch the network or, one day maybe, down the line. But I ain't that guy anywhere else but there.
Right. Respect.
So in MLW, I've been doing a bit, a different thing, just a different thing. And I'm letting that slow burn and build. And we'll see where else my face pops up in the coming months, in the future. But March 27th, Hardy Boys match, NEW, WrestleCade. I'll be there signing at or WrestleCon in Dallas, WrestleMania weekend, for lack of a better term there. And I'll be having 2 matches with MLW. One match with fucking the Rock and Roll Express. I'll be fighting against the Rock and Roll Express on a WrestleCon show. And I'll be signing that weekend. I'm sure I'll be busy as fuck. Thank you guys for all the love, support. Wrestling fans are the greatest fans of the world. I say that forever. They changed my life, man. They saved my life. They've given me everything, and without them, I'd have nothing. So I really appreciate everybody who is a fan of me or wrestling in general. Thank you.
Thank you, Enzo. We appreciate you taking the time today, brother. It means the world to us. This was a fun-ass conversation with a lot of fun things to talk about. You take care of yourself. Enjoy your cup of Joe. And everybody go and follow him at Real One, and we'll talk to you down the road. Peace, man.
All right, my brother. Take it easy, y'all.
Later.
All right, there was Enzo Amore. What a fun conversation with him. Chris warned me. The man loves to talk, and we certainly had a lot of conversation with him. So we only have 30 minutes left here in the show. Let's jump into some quick stuff over the next 30 minutes, and then let's get on out of here. Aaron, you want to take it?
Yeah, so a developing situation the past couple of days. It looks like Cody Rhodes to WWE. Done deal? Like we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but Mike Johnson of PWI Insider, this is broken over the past couple of days, saying that he's officially signed with the WWE. According to the PWI Insider report, the deal was signed about 10 to 14 days ago, so enough time for Dave Meltzer to try to fit whatever narrative makes him not look like a complete jack-off. So it is worth noting that Cody Rhodes' last match in AEW was in January, that match against Sammy Guevara, where he lost the TNT title. Of course, it's been rumored with the Seth Rollins storyline that it will be Seth Rollins and Cody, and it was even leaked on a booking sheet, if you believe that. Basically, just wanting to know, do you guys, how do you think this is going to play out?
Chris?
I mean, I don't. At this point, I guess they got to milk it till Mania. It's which I'm not really a fan of. I'm like, business wise, it's like I like to kind of know what's going on, and especially since a lot of the surprises recently at WrestleMania haven't been like that exciting. I remember when they milked the whole, is Undertaker going to show up to face John Cena at WrestleMania, and we just got this really short squash match situation thing. No, have him show up on Raw, have him be the very first thing, have him cut a promo, set the stage, hype it up, make me excited to see the show. Don't wait.
Okay. To me, it's more like, I get it why they're doing it. They want to kind of, you've got Rollins losing these matches, Rollins losing his opportunity to get at WrestleMania. So I guess it makes sense for Cody to come in, but I don't think there's a history between these guys. So what's your buildup? Is he going to be heel? Is he going to be face? What's his entire point in showing up? You'll get the initial pop, but there's got to be a little bit of a storyline buildup here. And the rumors are what we're reading here are saying he's not going to even show up until WrestleMania. So how are you going to build it without one half of the other guy showing up? That to me seems like it's kind of a flaccid build. And this kind of leans into what a lot of people felt was that Cody left and then WWE Creative kind of fumbled the ball of what they were going to do. And this is what they came up with. And apparently, as I said earlier, behind the scenes, most of Creative doesn't know what they're going to do with Cody and how it's going to go about. And only a couple of people know, Aaron. So to me, this feels a bit fumbled, but people warned Cody that this is what could happen. And it seems like it's happening with WWE kind of dropping the ball a little bit here.
Well, as the number one GM on for the SmackDown brand in WWE 2K22, let me tell you this right now. This is, I told you guys via text how I would do this. I would have had Seth on SmackDown, and I would have had him call it. I would have him calling up Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, and they're like, Sorry, this guy keeps calling me. I don't know what's going on. Puts the phone down. Eventually, Seth Rollins comes out on SmackDown because we're all expecting it on Raw, and that's why people are watching Raw and getting mad that they have to deal with it. So, like, let's put Seth on SmackDown, and you don't know it's him that's going to be Seth until the end. It's like, okay, God, Seth Rollins is here, great, and he's like, I want somebody, I don't care. It's Raw, SmackDown, NXT, I don't care where it comes from. Then you get Cody on SmackDown, where you're going to have the most eyes because SmackDown does better ratings than Raw, and it's a network television show. And you could still put Seth on Raw and make it a Raw event, but it's just like, oh, you got me because I thought it was going to be on Raw, and they can still like pull that rug a little bit. Now, if it's not on Raw, then we know it's going to be at WrestleMania. So now we know it's going to happen, and it's going to be less of what you want. I mean, you could always swing it into a way, like if you want to build something, be like, I cannot believe that this company, Seth Rollins, to be like, I cannot believe this company doesn't think I'm important enough to be on the WrestleMania card. This is ridiculous. You need to get me a name out here. Then Cody's like, Seth, and they do the thing back and forth, and it works. But that's how I would have done it.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. What's our next thing here? And listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to send some last Streamlabs super chats, send them in there. We're still going to answer them over the next few minutes. So sorry, I'm losing my voice here. Go ahead, Eric.
All right, so a couple notes here on Jeff Hardy. He was a guest on his brother's podcast this week, The Extreme Life of Matt Hardy, which is co-hosted by my friend John Alba. Worth noting that Jeff was released on 12/9 following some odd behavior at a house show on December 4th of last year in Washington, D.C., where he walked out into the crowd during the match. I don't need to rehash that for you. Hardy was later given a post-match drug test, which he passed after his release, and yada, yada. Then Jeff made his debut last week, saving his brother. So Jeff Hardy's comments in this article are basically saying that, he decided that he didn't want to be in WWE anymore and decided that maybe the time was right to just walk out and be weird. And maybe they'd fire me. I don't know. And he said he went to AEW, and it was one of the smartest things that he'd ever done, because it worked out perfectly, because his first day in AEW, he felt valuable for the first time.
Wow.
The care and love I was shown, I got chills thinking about it. In WWE, it felt like they just wanted to keep me there to sell action figures. They sold a lot of them. I put so much love and joy into painting my face. When I come out immortalized in an action figure, I'm like, that's why I do this. It's so cool. That's one thing I'm super excited about with AEW, my first action figure with face paint. Mm-hmm. So Jeff is talking about the differences there. Number one, if you're so upset that they're just going to make action figures from you, why are you excited that another company is going to make action figures about you? And WWE's made a ton. Like, let's not front. Like, they made a ton of Jeff Hardy action figures. It's just like this whole interview felt weird, like, because like Jeff, like he walked out during a match, and I could see it both ways. Like, people on the internet were upset because, like, hey, how you do that to your coworkers that actually want to work? How do you do that to the fans? Yeah, it's not like this is a one-off thing where you're a guy that doesn't have, like, if Drew McIntyre just like kind of wandered into the crowd, I'd be like, wow, that's really strange. Mm-hmm. I wonder what's wrong with Drew McIntyre. But it's Jeff Hardy who's had substance abuse issues and different things in the past, and I'm kind of like, you're very concerned, like, oh no, like what's happening? And I don't know. I think that's wrong in some ways. Like, I'm glad that Jeff Hardy's found his way. He feels valuable, but that part of it is not good. Like, there's better ways to go about it. And yeah, maybe he might have got the Mustafa Ali treatment. He goes to Vince. He's like, I want out of here. And they're just like, no. Yeah. No, you can just sit out the rest of your contract. So I see it both ways, but I'm not like the biggest Jeff Hardy fan anyway. I'm like one of those weird people. Wow. So it's just like, all right, you got what you wanted. So I guess I'm happy for him.
Okay. Chris, thoughts on this?
I had a couple of thoughts. I got three things. I mean, no one should be surprised by WWE and their treatment of sort of their veteran performers. No matter how over they are, no matter how much they still have left in the tank, if you reach a certain point, WWE sees you as less valuable. We don't get NWO. We don't get, Macho Man and WCW. We don't get any of that if Vince McMahon sees the value in those guys. But at the time, he thought that they were old. He thought they were done. He lets Hogan go. He lets Savage go. He lets all these people go. And then they get second life in WCW as the NWO. Doesn't happen if Vince McMahon, and the man has shown no signs of really changing how he looks at things.
Right.
B, all right, man. again, WWE has been known. I mean, people have talked all the time about how it sucks the soul out of you. It sucks the creativity out of you. It sucks the artistic drive out of you because there's so much. I mean, you're playing to an audience of one, and what that one wants is what's going to happen. And if you are somebody who's really creative, like a Jeff Hardy, that's a hard environment to thrive in. But hella unprofessional. Like, you're paid to do a job. You're paid to do a thing, which, I mean, Enzo talked about it in an interview. It's just like, it's not your company. It's not like,
right.
You know what I mean? I don't get to go to Live Nation every morning and decide which comedians I put on tour. You know what I mean? Like, I'm paid to do a job. So I totally get what you're going through, Jeff, and we're going through. Not the way to handle it. Happy that you're happy now, but I don't think this is an example to be set for a
Sure. Yeah, it feels like a bit of brand saving a little bit. I compare this to Chloe Zhao the other day, the director of Eternals, coming out and going, if you didn't get my movie, it's because it wasn't in a prepackaged box for you, and we challenged you and you were uncomfortable and whatever. So it's on you. And in this way, he's almost saying, if you had an issue with this, it's on you. This was going on with WWE. I thought this was fun to do. I thought I'd jump in the crowd. I thought I'd not take any perspective or have any kind of idea of how this might look. And as a veteran, how this might read to the younger wrestlers as an example of what a veteran should do. I just went and did it, right? And I was frustrated, and I felt like I was walking the halls like I was a nobody. So here's the deal. He says, I'm not a pot licker. Great, you're not a pot licker. Then stop bitching that no one's paying attention to you. Either be okay with not being a pot licker and no one's paying attention to you, because sadly in WWE or in almost any federation, it's the people who are making noise who the promoters either tell to shut the fuck up, or they listen and put them in stuff. So it felt weird for him to go like, I didn't feel like it was important, but Chris makes it at some point. You reach a certain point where they just know what they have in you, and they're going to trot you out and build you up and then tear you back down again, build you up and tear you back down again. So if you're not for the grind and you want to go to some places to try it out, fine. I think there's more going on here that he's not saying, and him going to like God or a higher power, or this happened for a reason. Things happen for a reason. People say that when they happen to them, not when they caused the things to happen. And Jeff, you caused the things to happen. So, but hey, if he's in a better place, great. But I'm sure he felt that way the first few days in WWE, and we'll see how he gets used with Matt and how they walk down the path here as a tag team, if it was worth the jump in the end. And who knows? Don't be surprised if 6 months from now he's bitching how he's not being used correctly as AEW acquires more talent. Who knows? Just throwing it out there. So.
Eternals is awful, and I will die on that hill.
Just
want to throw that out there. It's terrible.
Yeah, there's a lot of
challenged us to sit through that whole thing. That's the challenge of that movie. Chloe, gee whiz.
All right. Let's keep going. What's Eternals is a banger. Shut the hell up.
No, it's not. Harry Styles, get out of here.
All right,
get out of here.
Where are we up to next?
He was good. He was good in Dunkirk. All right. So now we're talking about AEW Dynamite and all that. We're going to light the fuse. We're going to start with some results, then we'll talk about everything everybody wants to talk about. So the team of Adam Cole and Red Dragon, can I just call them like the New Era or something, defeated Adam Hangman Page and the Jurassic Express. John Moxley and Bryan Danielson defeated Wheeler Yuta and Chuck Taylor. By the way, it looks like Trent Beretta is injured again, and nobody told me. So there you go. The Jericho Appreciation Society cuts a promo where Jericho says, among other things, they're going to use their own names because the creative names are stupid, and then keeps using the name Chris Jericho, which is not his real name. Just want to throw that out there. And then also Jericho in that same promo mentioned on January 6th, and I think a collective butthole puckering happened, but ended up being okay because he wasn't talking about what we thought he was going to talk about.
Yeah.
Scorpio Sky defeated Wardlow to retain the TNT Championship after MJF ran his head into the post. And MJF and Sean Spears continued the assault with chairs and different party favors. So it looks like that is a blow up that we probably saw coming. The Hardys in their AEW debut defeated Private Party, where Sting and Darby came in for the save after Butcher and Blade started beating up the Hardys. And then we got a little stare down, so maybe we'll get that in the future. And then the main event to cap it off, Thunder Rosa defeated Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, to win the AEW Women's World Championship in a steel cage. Thoughts?
Chris, please.
I mean, I love heel Jericho. I mean, I feel like his face runs are really, they have a lifespan of like a few months, and then it starts kind of getting repetitive a little bit. And so I'm glad that he's back heel. I loved we're going by our, we use real names here. Then he goes like hottie body, whatever, whatever. And he's like giving everybody these ridiculous names. Yeah. Fantastic work. But I think the more interesting wrinkle about the Jericho Appreciation Society, which is a horrible name for its stable, yes, but the angle of, we're sports entertainers. Mm-hmm. That's like, okay, yeah, that's a nod to WWE, but also look what's happening on the other side of the program with Regal, Moxley, and Bryan Danielson, who are saying we are pro wrestlers. And we're going to show the business how to be pro wrestlers. If we're leading towards Moxley, Danielson, Regal versus heel Jericho with his cronies, I'm in. I'm all the way in. Let's go for it. So that was one of the big takeaways from the show. Aaron, you tweeted about it. While I enjoyed the Britt Baker match, was something, it seemed like they were like miscommunicating.
Yeah, something was off.
I don't know where you get 4 stars that match. Anyway,
yeah, it was like moves would happen and they seemed like, oh wait, was I supposed to react to that? It just seemed like they were almost like calling it on the fly, but weren't quite in sync with one another.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe, I mean, look, we talked about it for a while last week, and like I think this definitely showed us it was time to pass it on and let someone else handle this other than Britt.
Stormed off there. Yeah, I agree with you 1,000% on Jericho. Heel Jericho is the best Jericho. And I think because he's got more tools in his toolbox as a heel than he does as a face. I think that's why he becomes repetitive, Chris. It's an excellent point you bring up. Because he's only got so many tools to go through. So he's just a natural heel. He's more inspired by it. He's more creative by it. I mean, his hair was even more taken care of this time. Everyone else was kissing his ass. It was perfect for him. And using real names is a fun thing that Aaron brought up, the irony of that. But like, it's perfect. And then the sports entertainer thing, I thought was genius. What a way to kind of just shove it in there to play heel, to dig it into AEW, saying we're sports entertainers. And so I love that. So if they go on a monster heel run, I'm all about it. I don't care if it's the Jazz, JS, whatever they want to call themselves. I'm down with it if they're delivering some good matches. And I think this is Jericho once again, like a fucking cat. He's got 9 goddamn lives, man. He just finds a way to be reborn all the time. And it works. And so I'm down for this. The Wardlow situation, let me tell you this right now. Scorpio Sky needs to get the fuck away from all those people. He is bigger than all those people. Go and cut them all off and go and start and do your own thing. Break away. The Wardlow thing really worked. I mean, MJF really came out of nowhere. The audience didn't even see him, which was great. Him jumping in and absolutely taking care of business there. And then them beating the shit out of him in spears with the chair. All that works for me. Now you got Wardlow, MJF. And I imagine Wardlow's going to win that feud. So MJF now will have twice lost 2 feuds back-to-back, which is interesting for a heel. What are you going to do with him after that? I wonder. That's my concern there. Hardy's was great. That's all fine. They're eventually going to fight Sting and Darby. That's totally going to happen at some point down the road. The Thunder Rosa match, that's the big thing to talk about, the steel cage match. I wanted to love this match. I wanted to love this match so bad, and I see people falling all over themselves to compliment it, and I go, what did you watch that I didn't see? Like, what did you, in my decades of watching wrestling, I fucking know when a good match is happening and when it isn't. And this match felt to me like Britt Baker did not want to sell, did not want to lose the belt, did this begrudgingly. She no-sold so many moves, not even Rosa's moves, even her mistakes. She fell in the chair, and next thing you know, she's walking perfectly fine 2 seconds later. And that to me is like, what the fuck are you doing? Sell the shit. Sell the moves, sell the big bomb or the big pops, sell those moves. And for me, it was really frustrating, and it felt anticlimactic with when Thunder Rosa won instead of a big celebration. It's something. The magic was missing from their initial match from a year ago, and I think it's because Britt didn't want to give up the title, and Britt was upset, and so she didn't. She went through the motions and played the overall emotion, the surface thing. But we know that it's the levels when you're playing within a match that really sell a match, the struggles, all of that. And she kept looking back to make sure she was going to fall on the right chair. God damn it. It just felt to me like this is the limits of Britt Baker. So take it or leave it. I'm glad she doesn't have the belt anymore, but I wouldn't be surprised if she becomes like Mandy Rose, a pretty face, limited in the ring, occasional pop-up, but never quite reach the heights of Sasha or Bayley or Charlotte or Becky. I just don't think she's in that mix right now.
Don't you ever talk about Mandy Rose like that.
Please.
But
best thing she did was in that parking lot, like I texted you earlier. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the Jericho thing just made me laugh because he was like, "We're going to use our real names," and 2.0 is a stupid name. I'm like, hey, that's actually a fine name. But I can't help but just look at Jake Hager, and I'm just like, why are you here? Like, why are you still here? Like, I know you're the heavy. I know you're the heavy of the group, but why are you still here? Daniel Garcia, again, great, good wrestler, entertaining wrestler, personality of cardboard. Personality of cardboard. One thing about 2.0 that you cannot say is that they don't have personality. In the ring, I don't know. I feel like I've never watched a match, but I've just always seen them talk, and they're fucking hilarious. So I really enjoy 2.0. So I'm kind of glad that they're in there.
Well, they're not 2.0 anymore. Stop it.
Well,
Stop it.
Well, whatever. Yeah. Scorpio Sky as the TNT champion, I'm for it. But like you guys said, it's just, okay. Well, get rid of this Dan Lambert shit, and we're good.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'll just go ahead and jump to the thing. Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, not a good match. I don't know how it happened, but on Twitter, I frequent Twitter. By the way, I'm the social media manager pretty much of this podcast. Just want to let you know, by the way, TikTok, massive today. Anyway, 450 plus followers at this point. But anywho.
Stop licking that pot. Go ahead.
Sorry.
You finally did something after 2 years. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
See, it's a weird thing to say. But yeah, it just, it started off like we're doing fine. First of all, the cage is weird because it's not like a traditional cage. I think that's part of it because it's not a traditional cage that we're used to, because it's like we're so used to WCW and WWE, the way they do cages with there's no room on the outside unless it's a Hell in a Cell. So right then and there, I was like, there's a disconnect here. I don't like that there's space around the ring. That feels weird. Yeah. And then like 2 minutes in the match, Britt's already bleeding. Like she's already bladed. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I don't care if you're bleeding. Like, that's fine. That doesn't bother me because I've watched women's MMA for years. Like the sight of a woman bleeding does not bother me. Right. It was just odd that it happened so fast. And then we got a stack of, we're in a cage, right? We're already in a cage. So we get kendo sticks. It's a hat on a hat. And then we got chairs, like a fuck ton of chairs. So there's another hat on a hat. And then we get like thumbtacks out of the bag. And it's like another hat on a hat. And I'm just like, we got 50 hats on a hat. Like, it's a cage, dude. Like, it's a cage. And we're already bleeding. What is the point of all this shit? Like, I don't, the cage match is supposed to be that Britt Baker cannot get away and that Jamie Hayter and Rebel cannot get in. That's the whole point. And the gimmick thing, like they don't, like Thunder Rosa laid it in a little bit, but not much. And like Britt's like, tap, fucking lay it in. Like just lay it in, man. Like, I'm not saying you got to kill each other, but lay it in. Make it make sense. Take a Chris Burns line. Make it make sense. Just once. Like, I love Thunder Rosa as a competitor. It was too long. Again, Britt Baker, it took too long for her to get the title. She should have got it way earlier. Same thing with Thunder Rosa. When Thunder Rosa was hot, they should have taken that and given her the title. She lost like a month ago to Jade Cargill. So she's not good enough to win the TBS title from a rookie in Jade Cargill, but she's good enough to beat like the longest reigning AEW Women's Champion in a cage match. It makes no fucking sense. Yeah. And I don't get it. I thought it was a bad match. And also somewhere in the Twitter sphere, I got somehow roped into like, I guess because I was searching a lot of AEW, I got somehow in AEW like diehard Twitter, and it's like it's giving me a migraine. Like the amount of apologies and stuff like that. And I'm not talking about the people like that are in here that we go back and forth with AEW on. It's not talking about that. I'm talking about these people that can't fucking take a breath without like sucking off Tony Khan. Like I can't deal with you. Like I love WWE. It's like my whole life, but I don't want to like love on Vince McMahon. Like everything that Vince McMahon does is not great. And I think that's something that we all need to realize. Like not everything in AEW is great. Some of it is, hell, a lot of it is. Mm-hmm. Some of it sucks, okay? And some of WWE stuff sucks too. So let's just all realize that it's not great all the time, okay? This is one of those times that it's not great.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing at the end of the day. It's like, well, people in the chat are like, oh, they only had 15 minutes. You can deliver a banger of a match in 10 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. It can be done. You've got to have both people dialed in. And this is where we saw the limits, as again, I'll say this, limits of Britt Baker. If she's a little more seasoned, a little more experienced, maybe she understands how to carry that match. I mean, Thunder was doing her best. Great intro, phenomenal intro for coming down the ring. Doing her best. She's been up and down the road in matches like that. But unfortunately, you can only carry someone so long. And at the end of the day, it may be that match against Britt Baker from a year ago is the best Britt Baker will ever see. And that's terrible to think about. That's, because they want to push her. They want her to be where she's at. She's with Adam Cole. So it's like, this is essentially AEW couple royalty. So they're going to want to give her more opportunities. I hope she gets back in that ring and starts working more, man, because there's a potential here, but it was time to take the belt off her. And now you'll go like, well, who's Thunder Rosa going to fight now? Because Britt's going to want a rematch. They're going to want to put all these things together. And I mean, Serena Deeb, I guess, is out there as well. So
she's in a program with Sheeta now. So it's like you gave Thunder Rosa the belt. Yeah. And then again, what?
Yeah.
Where are we going? Where are we going with this? Like, there's a comment in the chat that says AEW is not perfect, but it's miles above the product WWE is currently putting out right now. Of course, that's subjective, a subjective opinion. However, I will say this: I will actually tune into Dynamite and watch it because it has people that I really, really like, as opposed to Monday Night Raw, which I know I'm just going to be like sitting there plucking my eyes out. Yeah, and I would rather watch, Hangman Page and Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly and the Hardys. I'd rather watch that. So I'm with you, but like you said, man, it's not perfect, and I think everybody thinks it's perfect, and that's fucking weird because it's not perfect.
Also, the Aubrey Edwards thing. I love female referees. I love that we have female referees. I'm all for it. Let's do it, but I don't know. I'm doing some internal searching, because I mean, I loved Hebner rather, and Hebner could overplay moments like crazy. But I see Aubrey overplaying stuff all the time, and they should have just had a referee from the beginning. Why is there a ref spot where the ref gets knocked out? Why is Aubrey running in, and then Aubrey's on social media going, look at the thumbtacks I got for counting a 1, 2, 3. You're a referee. Cut it out, man. I don't know. They should have had her be the referee from the beginning. I think that would have worked a lot better. Am I wrong on this, Chris or Aaron?
No, to Aaron's point, hat on a hat, all that, it was just overproduced. Everything, too many spots, too many, shenanigans, just like, their more brutal first encounter was way less produced than this, and we got a bang over match for it. But like you said, fucking chairs and high spots and thumbtacks and blood and the Aubrey Edwards spot. It's like we didn't need all that. We didn't need all that at all. And, again, back to Enzo's interview, sometimes in a match, especially when you're a heel, you just need to take a beating sometimes.
Yeah.
If Thunder Rosa just had dragged her all across that cage for 15 minutes, I'm telling you that match would have got way more energy, way more of a pop. People would have been like, this is great. And then you tease them when, the cavalry comes out for Britt Baker and tries to get in the cage. They can't, or they do distract Rosa. It looks like she's going to lose. She shakes it off, wins the title.
Yeah.
Easy. I felt like they felt the need to top the brutality of their first match.
Yeah.
And when someone's not a great seller, it doesn't work the right way. She took a horrible thumbtack bump and then rolled right out of the ring and got a weapon from under the ring. I was like, did that not hurt? Did that not hurt at all? Like, you just took, like, are you made of steel? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on?
I haven't seen CM Punk in 2 weeks.
That's true.
Goddamn, you didn't take a chair bump like that, you know?
He's filming heels.
Oh, sure.
There's no reason he's gone.
So yeah, man.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
dude,
Chris is spot on though.
Yeah.
Like, Chris is spot on. If Rosa takes Britt and beats her ass all that whole time, then Britt maybe gets a little something, and you're like, shit. Like, she's still gonna keep it. Keep the suspense.
Yeah.
But then Rosa goes back to beating her ass. And that Fire Thunder driver, like, it's a cool move, but it's like Britt's so tall and Rosa's like so much shorter. It's like, it didn't look right. And then the kneeling power bomb onto the tax, like, I didn't love that either, but it's just like, I guess, like,
I think they were gassed by the end.
But
it felt like
Aubrey counting while smacking her hand into the tax. Like, come on.
Everyone trying to be part of the show. All right, real quick, let's into these questions. Get on out of here. This Philip Bryan says, I've had issues with my Apple Pay as of late. I got an email that multiple recent purchases were rejected after seemingly approved. You were one. I owe you $9.99. Here it is. Oh, thanks, Philip.
Thanks, Philip.
Very kind of you. Roberto Arsenal saying, love Thunder Rosa's entrance. Britt showed off her bruised arms on social media. I loved her run as champ. Happy for Rosa. Happy for Yuta, too. Okay.
Yeah, she and I'm not disrespecting Britt Baker. It just ran too long. That's not her fault.
Yeah.
Like, she put on, it's wild, like, to watch how Britt Baker was like the darling of AEW like community, and now they fucking hate her, dude. It's wild because she posted that, I went to, it was in San Antonio, Dynamite. She's like, I went from San Antonio, flew back to Orlando, and I was in the dentist office the next morning, like, working, and people were like, who gives a shit, you fucking dentist? Like, it's what? She's a fucking learned doctor. Like, she's some kind of stupid asshole. Like, get out of here.
She's got to. People hate it when you moonlight on wrestling.
So
they fucking hate it. You know they do.
It's a learned doctor.
Brandon Jones says Jeff is looking out for his health and mind. Who cares about what WWE and Vince wants? Jeff never was company guy, so I was not upset. I'm just happy that Jeff is in a better path in his life. We'll see if he is. Yeah. What do you guys think?
And you still got to be an adult, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's your job.
He's not walking off a subway. It's his fucking job. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, damn, I keep referencing back to Enzo's interview, but because he said a lot of things. It's, you know, dude, you can't be I think this is my thesis for being on this podcast. You can't be a mark for yourself in wrestling. Like, yes, you can say no to bad creative and you can stand up for yourself and you can say, offer alternatives and be like, wouldn't it make more sense if we did this, that, and the other? But just being like, I don't like the way I'm being used. Damn these millions of dollars that I get to play a character on TV. I've had world title reigns. I've had some of the greatest WrestleMania matches ever. I'm one of the most beloved after all this time characters in WWE history, whether I win or lose. And you're sad? Ooh, like, come on, man. Like, yes. Okay, complain backstage, handle it professionally, handle it like a man. And if they don't agree with you, do your job.
Yeah. That's the way it works. In the real world, Brandon Jones, that's how it works. You got and that company made Jeff Hardy into a household name. So there's a certain level of where you have to understand your commitment and what you owe to that company, at least being respectful in some way, shape, or form. You can't be upset that someone else's or other people have had terrible relations with that company and go, you know what, I'm going to co-op that. And then I'm going to use that as my argument. That doesn't work. They treated you well. If you felt misused, you should have said something. If you didn't say them because you're not a pot licker, and I mean, what do you want? You want people to read your mind? It doesn't make sense. Brendan Jones coming after us again here saying, cry me a river. I like the cage match and the reason for the chairs. AEW don't want the cages matches to be boring and fans enjoy it like I did. And wear a Browns hat, Turner. Oh, wow.
Why would I wear a Browns hat? You ain't going anywhere. You ain't going nowhere. You got rid of Landry. You got Deshaun Watson, and you paid him way too much money. way too much money. Are you insane? They're terrible. They are who we thought they were. But to your point, okay, that's fine. This isn't a fucking indie show. This is a main event on TNT on live television. In the way that Chris described, like booking a match, I know we have different ways to book matches, but I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
How is that not entertaining? Like Britt's had this, not like the Triple H, people call it a reign of terror, but like I'm going to use it in a different way, but it's like a reign of terror where she has been like omnipresent over this women's division, like top dog, gets like huge pops, like the face of this division. And now Rosa beats the living hell out of her. And it's like, yes, thank God. Like everybody gets to have this release with Thunder Rosa. And then like, it's like I said, it's just gimmick after gimmick after gimmick after gimmick. It's like you fall off a tower of chairs and you get a fucking 2 count.
Yeah.
Like, give me a break. Like, give me a break, dude.
The spine should have broke. All right, one last question. We got to get out of here. Justin Toner says, hi, guys. Great job today with the Enzo interview. Thank you, Justin. That was a blast. Happy Thunder Rosa won the title. Hope she gets a good run with it. Who should be her first feud? SmackDown had a banger match with Sasha Naomi versus Ripley/Liv Morgan that the crowd loved. All right.
Yeah, but it ended in a DQ.
Yeah, it took all of it out of it. Yeah.
What the hell?
Do you like the Liv Morgan Rhea Ripley combo?
I actually am. I still feel like it's a tragic misuse of Rhea, but if it's something to do in the meantime, so much better than her teaming up with Nikki. So, look, if they put the belts on them and they make it something, I'm all for it. But if you've slapped them together just to have another team in that match at WrestleMania, I'm going to be very upset.
I think they pulled Ripley aside. Aaron, sorry, Aaron, go ahead.
No, I was going to say they added Shayna Baszler and Natalya to the tag match. So it's just like, they're a tag team now, I guess. So here you go. Go ahead.
I feel like they took Rhea Ripley into the office real quick and said, listen, give us a year. Help us put these other ladies over, and then we're going to give you a run. Because she is putting over ASH. Now she's going to put over Liv again. And it's just like she is the one that should be blazing a path to the title, getting into these awesome one-on-one feuds with champions or being a champion herself. It's ridiculous that they keep hamstringing her with these other women to try to carry in these tag teams. It's ridiculous. That's my thoughts on that. Anyway, but Live with Brutality, I don't mind. It's not a bad name. Orlando Rego saying Jeff was mentally checked out. Look what is happening with Mustafa Ali. Again, that's not Jeff's thing. Mustafa Ali is not Jeff's thing. Just because he was checked out mentally doesn't mean he can do whatever the fuck he wants. Yet, as I said, it's not a Taco Bell. He's not going, fuck you, I'm not serving any more of these and walking off the job. He got paid a lot of money to do what he was doing. So there's a better way to handle things.
We didn't mention it, but Chris Statlander on Rampage changed her look. Yeah. And she went full like Megan the Stallion. And I was like, now I'm gonna call her Chrissy the Stallion. So shout out to her.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's wrap it up there. We went over 2 hours. We all got to get on with our days. Thank you all so much for joining us. And a big shout out to Enzo Amore for hanging out with us for as long as he did. Chris wore me, and he sure as hell lived up to the billing. My man can go. So we appreciate him taking time with us. And of course, follow him and all the stuff he's got going on. And if you can go and see him, go and see him. Chris Burns, much love to you, brother, man. Where can they find you and everything going on?
You find me at Chris_please on all the social media things. I'm going to be in Connecticut next weekend, hanging out with Enzo at that show. Excited to meet the Hardys. Excited to meet Toni Storm outside of our relationship. So very excited.
Yes, Toni Storm starting an OnlyFans account. So go and line up for that. Certainly, there are a lot of already pictures been dropping that people have been seeing. Aaron Turner, another fun week with you, my man. Again, what do you got going on? And pitch him.
Find me on Twitter at only Aaron Turner. Find the show on TikTok at strong_style_live. Check out our hype video for Enzo. Huge 10,000 views overnight. Unbelievable stuff there. You can find me today drinking some of this hard Mountain Dew. So I'll be drinking a lot of that today. And hopefully Chris will get me a signed Toni Storm 8x10. Really appreciate that. And you'll catch me there.
There you go. If Chris can get us Toni Storm on the show, that would be the way to go, for God's sake. Let's make that happen.
I'll talk to
Please shake those trees. As far as me, you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok as well. Yeah. And you can follow me, The Outlaw Nation, on Twitch. And everything we got going on here on the channel. Don't forget, later on at 3 p.m. PT, we got the live Ultimate Showdown after show coming up. The Geek Buddies has dropped a new episode. We got a lot of stuff happening here in the world of the Outlaw Nation. All right, y'all, take care of yourselves. Be well. Thanks so much for hanging out with us this morning, and we'll talk to you next time with another brand new live episode of Strong Style.